If you own a French Bulldog, there is a version of this summer that ends with a vet bill you were not expecting, a dog who is suffering in ways that are completely invisible until they are not, and a moment where you look back and realize the warning signs were there the whole time and you just did not know what you were looking at. I am not saying that to frighten you. I am saying it because I have had that conversation with too many French Bulldog owners sitting across from me in my clinic, good owners, attentive owners, owners who loved their dogs deeply and still did not know that their Frenchie's body operates under a completely different set of rules than every other dog they had ever owned before. The flat face is not just an aesthetic. The compact body is not just a size. Every single physical feature that makes a French Bulldog look the way they look also changes how they breathe, how they cool themselves, how they handle heat, stress, exercise, and excitement. And summer, more than any other season, is when that difference stops being academic and starts being urgent. So before the temperature climbs another degree, let me walk you through everything your Frenchie's body has been trying to tell you and exactly what to do about it this summer. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Naomi, your neighborhood veterinarian, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the specifics, I want to challenge something that I hear constantly, and it is the single most dangerous assumption French Bulldog owners make. That assumption is this: my dog seems fine, so they must be fine. With most dog breeds, that logic holds up reasonably well. With French Bulldogs, it does not, and here's exactly why. French Bulldogs have been selectively bred over generations to have a skull shape that compresses the entire upper airway into a fraction of the space that a normal dog's airway would occupy. The nostrils are narrower, the soft palate at the back of the throat is longer and floppier than it should be. The trachea, the windpipe itself, is in many cases significantly narrower than breed standard guidelines recommend. The tissue folds inside the throat are more abundant and more obstructive. All of this means that a French Bulldog at rest is already using a measurably higher percentage of their respiratory effort just to move air in and out compared to a dog with a normal skull shape. They are already working harder to breathe on a cool Tuesday morning in your living room than a Labrador is working during a moderate walk. That baseline effort is the starting point. Everything summer throws at them gets layered on top of it, and that is where the danger lives. The first thing every French Bulldog owner needs to genuinely understand before summer is how your dog cools their body, and more importantly, why that system is fundamentally broken for this breed. Dogs do not sweat the way humans do. They cannot release heat through their skin across the entire surface of their body. Their primary, almost their only effective mechanism for releasing excess body heat is panting. When a dog pants, they move air rapidly across the wet surface of the tongue and the lining of the upper airway. And that airflow causes evaporative cooling, the same principle that makes you feel cold when you step out of a pool on a breezy day. The faster and more efficiently a dog can move air through their airway, the more effectively they can release heat. Now think about what happens when you take that cooling mechanism and attach it to an airway that is already partially obstructed at every single point along its length. A French Bulldog cannot pant efficiently. The narrowed nostrils restrict incoming air. The elongated soft palate partially blocks the back of the throat. The narrow trachea limits total airflow volume. So when a Frenchie needs to cool down urgently, the very system they depend on is working at a fraction of the capacity of a normal dog at the exact moment their body needs it most. I had a 3-year-old French Bulldog named Beau come into my emergency clinic on a day when the outdoor temperature was around 28 degrees Celsius, which is not extreme by any measure. His owner had taken him for what she described as a short walk, maybe 15 minutes in the early afternoon. By the time she carried him through my door, he was breathing in a way that I can only describe as fighting for air. His gums were a pale, almost grayish pink instead of the healthy bubblegum color they should be. His body temperature was 41.5 degrees Celsius, which in a dog is a serious medical emergency. We immediately moved Beau to a cooling protocol, placing him on a wet towel, running cool but not ice-cold water over his paw pads and groin, and positioning a fan to move air across his body while we placed an IV line to support his circulation. Beau survived and recovered fully, and his owner, who was visibly shaken, said she had no idea that a 15-minute afternoon walk could do that. She had owned a beagle before Beau and had walked that dog for an hour in similar conditions without a second thought. That is the gap in understanding that costs Frenchies their lives every summer, and it is the gap I want to close today. The correct approach to exercise and outdoor time for a French Bulldog in summer is built around one simple rule that I give every single Frenchie owner in my practice. In temperatures above 22 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 72 degrees Fahrenheit, outdoor exercise should happen either before 9 in the morning or after 7 in the evening, and should be limited to a maximum of 10 to 15 minutes even then. This is not being overprotective. This is matching your dog's care to their actual physiological reality. The pavement temperature is also something most owners never think about, and it matters enormously for French Bulldogs. When the air temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, the asphalt surface your dog walks on can reach temperatures of 50 to 60 degrees, hot enough to cause burns on their paw pads within 60 seconds of contact. The test I recommend is simple. Place the back of your hand flat on the pavement surface and hold it there for 7 seconds. If you cannot hold it comfortably for the full 7 seconds, your dog should not be walking on it. Stick to grass wherever possible, and always carry water on any outdoor outing regardless of how short you plan it to be. The second area where French Bulldogs need a completely different approach this summer is their skin, and specifically the deep skin folds on their face, under their chin, around their tail, and in the case of heavier Frenchies, along the body as well. These folds are one of the breed's most beloved aesthetic features and also one of their most significant health vulnerabilities. Skin folds create warm, dark, moist pockets where the two surfaces of skin rub against each other continuously. In cool, dry conditions, this is manageable. In summer heat, when your dog is panting more, drooling more, getting warm more easily, and potentially getting damp from water or outdoor humidity, those same folds become the perfect incubator for bacterial and yeast infections, a condition called skin fold dermatitis. I had a 2-year-old French Bulldog named Coco, whose owner came in during the first real heat wave of the previous summer. Coco had started pawing at her face and rubbing it along the carpet, which the owner had assumed was allergies. When I examined the deep fold running under Coco's nose, the skin inside was bright red, visibly raw, had a distinctive sour smell, and there was a dark, moist discharge trapped in the crease. This was a moderate bacterial and yeast infection that had developed within a matter of weeks as the weather warmed. Coco needed a short course of topical antifungal and antibacterial treatment, but what I spent most of that appointment doing was showing her owner exactly how to prevent it from coming back. The correct approach to skin fold care in summer is a daily cleaning routine that takes less than 2 minutes once you have the habit established. Using a soft cotton pad or a gentle unscented baby wipe, gently open each fold and wipe along the inside surface to remove any accumulated moisture, debris, and the early stages of bacterial growth before they can take hold. After wiping, the critical step that most owners miss is drying the fold completely. A damp fold that has been wiped but not dried is still a warm, moist environment. A small piece of soft, dry cotton held gently in the fold for a few seconds makes an enormous difference. Some owners then apply a very thin layer of plain coconut oil to the skin surface inside the fold, which has natural antifungal and antibacterial properties and helps keep the skin supple rather than cracked and raw. If you notice any redness, unusual smell, dark discharge, or your Frenchie is rubbing their face persistently, do not wait to see if it resolves on its own. Fold infections escalate quickly in summer heat and are significantly easier and cheaper to treat in the early stages than after they have had 2 weeks to deepen. The third critical area for French Bulldogs this summer is one that I find most owners have either not thought about at all or have significantly underestimated the risk of. Water. Specifically, the fact that French Bulldogs cannot swim. Not that they are bad swimmers, not that they swim awkwardly, they cannot swim. Their body conformation makes it physically impossible for them to maintain a sustainable swimming position without mechanical assistance. The heavy top-loaded head and compact, dense, muscular body create a center of gravity that pulls them front down and tail up the moment they enter water deep enough that their paws cannot reach the bottom. They cannot right themselves. They cannot tread water for more than a few seconds before the effort of keeping their compressed airway above the surface while simultaneously trying to paddle becomes too much. I have treated 2 near-drowning cases in French Bulldogs in my career, and both happened in the owner's own backyard pool, and both owners were outside and nearby. It happened that fast. If you have a pool, a pond, a lake, or any body of water deeper than your Frenchie's legs in your life this summer, a canine life jacket is not optional. It is mandatory, not a floaty, not a collar with a handle. A properly fitted canine life jacket with a buoyancy panel under the chest and belly, a handle on the back, and a secure fit that keeps the head elevated above the water surface. Before purchasing one, measure your dog's chest circumference at its widest point and their length from the base of the neck to the base of the tail, and match those measurements to the manufacturer's size guide rather than guessing by weight alone. Introduce the life jacket at home before any water exposure. Let your Frenchie wear it around the house for short periods so they are comfortable in it before they need it for real. And regardless of whether your dog is wearing a life jacket, never leave a French Bulldog unsupervised near open water. Not for a minute. Not while you answer your phone. Not while you go inside to grab a drink. The fourth thing I want French Bulldog owners to think about differently this summer is the indoor environment, because most owners focus entirely on outdoor risks and completely overlook what is happening inside the house. A French Bulldog in a home without air conditioning during a heat wave is not safe simply because they are inside. The indoor temperature in an unventilated room during a hot day can reach levels that are genuinely dangerous for a brachycephalic dog, even with no exercise and no direct sun exposure. I recommend keeping indoor temperatures at or below 24 degrees Celsius for French Bulldogs throughout summer, which in most climates means air conditioning is not a luxury for this breed, it is a health requirement. If air conditioning is not available, cooling mats, which are self-activating gel pads that absorb body heat without requiring refrigeration, are one of the most effective tools I recommend. Place one in your Frenchie's regular resting area and one near wherever they tend to settle when you are home. Elevated mesh dog beds that allow air circulation underneath the body are also significantly better than solid beds or memory foam during hot weather because they prevent heat from accumulating beneath your dog while they sleep. I also want to address one specific indoor scenario that almost never comes up in these conversations, but that I have seen cause genuine distress in French Bulldogs repeatedly. Cars. A car with the windows cracked and the engine off on a day of only 23 degrees. Celsius will reach 50 degrees inside within 20 minutes. For a French Bulldog whose cooling mechanism is already compromised, the inside of a parked car in summer is one of the most dangerous places on Earth, even for what feels like a quick errand. There is no length of time that is safe. If you cannot bring your Frenchie inside with you, they stay home. Let me bring all of this together now because I want to make sure you walk away from today with something concrete and actionable, rather than just a list of things to worry about. The summer French Bulldog care plan that I give every Frenchie owner in my practice comes down to 5 commitments. Walk only before 9 or after 7, and only on surfaces that pass the 7-second hand test. Clean and dry every skin fold every single day, more frequently on particularly warm or humid days. Never allow unsupervised access to any body of water, and have a properly fitted life jacket ready before summer begins. Keep indoor temperatures at or below 24 degrees and have a cooling mat in their regular resting spot. And watch your dog's breathing. Learn what your Frenchie's normal resting breathing looks and sounds like so that you will actually notice when it changes, because labored breathing, extended neck posture while resting, blue or pale gums, and heavy panting that does not slow down after moving to a cool environment are all emergency signals that mean your dog needs veterinary attention right now. Before I close, I want to give you one more thing, because this is a conversation I have had in my clinic many times, and I think it belongs here. If your French Bulldog snores loudly every single night, if they make a honking or gasping sound during normal activity, if they have to stop and catch their breath after climbing a single flight of stairs, if their breathing is consistently noisy and labored even in a cool room at rest, please talk to your vet about a surgical assessment for brachycephalic obstructive airway syndrome. BOAS correction surgery, which typically involves widening the nostrils and trimming the elongated soft palate, is one of the most life-changing procedures I have seen in this breed. Owners who have it done often describe it as giving their dog a completely different quality of life. Dogs who used to struggle through their days breathing with visible effort suddenly move more freely, sleep more deeply, play with more enthusiasm, and handle warmer temperatures with significantly more resilience. It is not cosmetic. It is a genuine quality of life intervention, and summer is when the difference between a dog who has had it and a dog who hasn't becomes most starkly visible. If cost is a concern, ask your vet about doing one correction at a time, as nostril widening alone is typically the most affordable component and delivers meaningful improvement on its own. You chose one of the most loyal, most affectionate, most joyful breeds that exists. They will follow you into any situation without hesitation, which is exactly why the responsibility to understand their limits belongs entirely to you. The good news is that French Bulldogs who are managed correctly thrive in summer. They go on morning walks, they splash in shallow paddling pools with their life jackets on, they lie on their cooling mats in the air conditioning and look at you with those enormous eyes like you are the best thing that ever happened to them, because as far as they are concerned, you are. Tell me in the comments, do you have a Frenchie, and is there something specific about summer care you have always been unsure about? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to help. If this video gave you something you needed before summer hits, please hit the like button. It helps this reach every French Bulldog owner who needs it right now. Subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Give your dog a gentle scratch behind the ears for Dr. Naomi. Stay safe, always trust your instincts, and I will see you all in the very next video.